Welcome back, fight fans. We're back. Oh my goodness, of course, that's what it was. I was gonna say my laptop has paused out on me, glitched out, but it's actually just dead, lol. So I guess I'm gonna have to go get my charger. So I guess I'll be back in a minute. But yeah, no, for real. I'll be right back. Be back in a minute. I'll plug it in and we will get right back into it. See you right after this.
Allow me to introduce High Stick Vodka, a new way to celebrate victory. Gather around the glass with an award-winning, ultra-premium Canadian-made vodka. You probably won't listen when I say High Stick Vodka has a smooth, hard-hitting taste, or that it's developed in the birthplace of hockey. You won't listen when I say High Stick Vodka is a tribute to the game of hockey, or when I tell you it's distilled 4 times using Canada's purest mountain spring water to provide an authentic, remarkable flavor. But maybe you will listen when I say it comes in a f***ing hockey stick. Showcase your passion for hockey with our limited edition hand-blown hockey stick bottle. Whether you're celebrating victory or drinking to defeat, High Stick Vodka is better after every shot. Visit us at highstickvodka.com. It also comes in this regular bottle. Celebrate victory. Drink responsibly.
Okay, I think we're back now. Well, I would have put on the technical difficulty music if I could have. But yeah. So the Wi-Fi, of course shuts off as I'm getting the the cord for the laptop. The laptop's plugged in. We're back. The Wi-Fi is good. Everything's good now. I fucking hate technology as always. What else is new? So, we're back into it. Let's see. And of course, now Bet99 is. Oh, why am I using Bet99 again? Why was that a thing again? I'm not doing that. Fuck everything. Okay. So we're back now. Of course, my God, I have the laptop on the wrong goddamn side. This is a mess. This is a mess. So we're gonna jump right into it. Noche UFC, amazing card, top to bottom. Loved every second of it. The crowd was amazing. The fights were great. I was about to say, nothing, no bullshit. And then I realized, oh, wait, the main event, garbage. Yeah, I mean, the scorecards, obviously, the fight itself, amazing. Needed to clarify that, of course, because there was nothing wrong with the fight itself, just the card after. And then a couple of weird scorecards throughout the night. Didn't take any notes throughout the fights, of course, because why would I do that? I really should have. Um, I don't know. I've just been getting so into watching the fights that then I just don't write the notes anymore. I don't know. I'm just a mess. What can I say? Just a mess. Except for when it comes to the betting, because my God, are we killing it with these picks? Especially this week. It was one of the best weeks we've had. May actually be the best week I've had on doing this show, I think. Like in this system, I should say, with the units. I'd have to look back on the numbers to make sure that that's true, but it's definitely top 2 or top 3 for sure. So we'll get into that right away. I was looking at what you were saying. Main event had to draw a lot of fans. I mean, the whole event drew a lot of fans, top to bottom, I think. But yeah, I really would have loved to see that in Mexico, though. I think we can all agree that would have been the night. The whole night really would have been next level in Mexico. Wish they would have gotten to do that instead. But hey, this is a close second. Now, Josephine Knutson, Marnik Man. I mean, I said it going into it. Didn't really think Marnik Man was really all that great. And I mean, kind of proved that. I thought Knutson had a chance at getting a finish, but this is why we ended up bringing the odds down by going with a Knutson decision, because she was at, what was it, like minus 500 something, minus 600 something. So had to bring those odds down, and we did that by going Knutson decision. That ended up being at minus 110 when I put the bet in. So not plus money, but pretty close to plus money. And I did no other bets because, again, I'm trying to cut those extra bets out. And this time it really did work out. I mean, that's what I'm saying. The system was in full force this week. That is for sure. So that was the only bet that I had for this fight. I don't remember it ever being too close to getting a finish. Obviously, it was fairly dominant. But yeah, so that cashes in. That's 1.9 units. Already in the green by 0.9 units, one fight into the night. It's a good start to the night. Then we had Charlie Campbell and something Reyes. What was his name here? Let's go back into here. Alex Reyes. And I mean, that kind of went exactly what I expected. I mean, this is what I was saying. Charlie Campbell should win in the first round, but I wasn't really sure with the layoff, because you never really know what the layoff is going to be like, especially when they've been gone for, what was it, like 6 years or something, 5 or 6 years. Reyes hadn't fought. I think it was like 2018 or something like that. So, I mean, is he going to look like he's been gone for 5 or 6 years? Or is he going to be back? And yeah, good thing you switched the photos. My God, yeah. How is he going to look after the 6 years? Or what I was going to say is he going to look bad, like he was going to, that he was on that kind of layoff? Or is he going to come back looking like, oh, he was working hard the whole time, got some good rest in, now he's not injured anymore, he comes in strong, comes in hot, kills it? Is that going to happen? The safer bet obviously was to just assume that, hey, 6 years off isn't great. Also, Charlie Campbell gets a lot of first round finishes, so made sense to go for that. And that's what I did. I did not go with KO submission here. All I did was Campbell in the first round. And we nailed it. It was at plus 100. So again, drag those odds down into the plus range, plus 100. Nailed that. Got the 2 units. But I did end up putting a second bet in there. I took the over 1.5 just because I had seen Reyes. Okay, we don't know. We don't know what he's going to be like. At the very least, maybe he could have toughed it out to get over the 1.5, which could have still meant. Well, I mean, that was really just balancing it out, I guess. That if he doesn't get the win in the first round, the over 1.5 would then probably cash, and then we'd get a little bit more money that way. So I guess it was kind of a hedge, I guess. Either way, I mean, I put 2 units down, I got 2 units back. That's just a 0, like a literal perfect 0. So, it is what it is. We didn't really get any money out of that. And I didn't have him in the parlays just because I wasn't sure about the layoff. So I guess really that fight was just a wash. But to watch it though, fantastic. Fantastic finish there, I believe, from what I remember, because again, I didn't write notes. Yeah, 4 minutes in. I mean, I don't remember it ever being a doubt. I was like, okay, yeah, we're good. He's going to get the first round finish here. Then it was Tracy Cortez, Jasmine Jasdavicius. And I mean, that went exactly what I was saying as well. Because didn't really think Cortez was going to be able to get a finish. Jasmine's really tough. Also, didn't really think Jasmine was going to be able to handle the wider range of skills, and then also the cardio and everything. And that's pretty much what happened. I mean, Jasmine was doing well with her grappling as expected, but then of course the bigger size of Cortez, the cardio, the youth too as well, and just the skill in general of Tracy Cortez, there was never really a doubt that she was clearly winning that fight. And so that's why I went with Tracy Cortez by decision. I didn't think there was really any chance she was going to get a finish, and she was never really close to getting a finish either. No, neither one of them was. So I didn't do the second bet in that one either. Went all in on the Cortez decision. That was plus 130, and that cashes in. That is 2.3 units, and that is 1.3 units of profit. So we're already 2 units up. We're 2 units up, and we're 3 matchups into the night. Looking fantastic. Then we move on to the first weird fight, weird result. Well, it wasn't really a weird fight. It was just the result was weird. That would be I forget his first name here, but I remember Daniel Lacerda, who's actually Daniel Dos Santos. I don't know. They throw all these names around, give them multiple names on these betting sites and Tapology. Who knows what their real name is? And Edgar Chairez, that was the other one. I was looking for that. And a question here: do you find the last couple cards have had a lot more one-sided, easier picks? Yeah, and that's exactly. We've actually talked about this before. I'll throw the question up, so I'm not talking to myself here. Well, I am talking to myself on some level, but it is what it is. Yes, and we've talked about that a little bit before, because it's not just the UFC that does this, it's other ones too. Whenever there's a big card, they want to promote the betting. And how do you promote betting? You make easy picks. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody's going to win, or that there's like a 90% chance that they're going to win, you get to make parlays, you get to put in bets. It makes people have more fun on the betting sites. They get involved, then they're more likely to watch the fights. That's just what it is. And of course, Noche UFC is essentially, it was basically a free pay-per-view. I mean, let's be honest. There was a title fight at the end. The whole card was like a themed kind of thing. They went all in on the promo and really just everything in general. I mean, they had the music, the video packages. It was essentially a pay-per-view. So that's what they're trying to do, of course, get people involved with the betting and everything, make easier picks. And also, of course, the crowd loves it when the people that they want to win, which of course in this case was all of the Mexican and Mexican American fighters. So they give them favorable matchups. There you go. It is what it's what it's set up to be. And of course, what happened in the last couple weeks, I mean, it's the same thing. One of them was a pay-per-view. Then we had Paris. So, I mean, of course, you want the French fighters to win. So, of course, you got to stack those ones up. Before that, I mean, then you had London. So, then you want the British fighters to win. Yeah, of course. And, well, oh, yeah, that's right. They threw that Singapore one in there too. And it was the same thing there. You want the Asian fighters to win. So it was a lot of, I think there were a lot of Japanese in that one, especially from what I remember. I can't remember at this point. It was a while ago. But yeah, stack it up so that the Asian fighters win in those. Same thing. And then of course now you'll see the opposite. This is where we're going to start seeing, of course, some upsets, like some crazy upsets that we don't really see coming. There's going to be a lot of closer ones. There's still obviously going to be some more lopsided ones too thrown in there, but you'll notice now all of the odds are in that minus 200, minus 100 range. There's not going to be a whole lot that's just, I mean, on the last card, I think there were 5 that were in the minus 400, minus 500, minus 600 range. I mean, it was especially this week, I should say, this past week was ridiculous for that. But yeah, now that we're back in Vegas, UFC Vegas, you're not going to see that as much. It is what it is. But now I'm starting to say it is what it is. I don't even know what I'm doing now, but it is what it is. What was I going to say here? Damn it. Now I had a good point. I lost it. I was going to say something smart, but it is what it is. So we'll move on. Edgar Chairez, Daniel Lacerda. Yeah, it was exciting. I mean, it wasn't the crazy barn burner that we've expected from Daniel Lacerda. It wasn't as insane, but of course there was still a weird ending, which is classic. This is where he was stuck in the submission, and then, I mean, as a viewer, and especially as somebody who's been watching fights for a while now, excuse me, I could tell what was happening. Like, I could tell, like, okay, Lacerda, he's obviously stuck in the submission. He's trying to get out of it. And then now, okay, he's basically just trying to let Chairez burn his arms out. He clearly wasn't like, oh shit, I'm about to go unconscious, because he wasn't like, oh, he wasn't, and there was no tapping, there was no frantic energy or anything. It was pretty clear, like, okay, he's standing there, he's waiting to see what Chairez is going to do, waiting to see if he's going to burn his arms out. Yeah, just waiting out the submission essentially, and that's what they were saying on the broadcast too. And again, it was pretty obvious. But yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit, in a second. And then, yeah, then the ref calls it, and it's like, he's definitely still awake, definitely still trying to fight it off. And it was just like, well, that was clearly a no contest. I hope they get that one right. And they did. They ended up reviewing it. Was pretty obvious that he wasn't unconscious, didn't tap, nothing wrong. So it's a no contest. Sucks to see, because it just it's not even like there were any mistakes made by the fighters, nothing, no stupid shit. It was just stopped it too early, and the rules say we can't restart, so that sucks. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I mean, yeah, but yeah, and what you were saying, it was all on that arm drop. I don't know, because even when I was watching it, I mean, I didn't even think like, oh, his arm dropped, he's unconscious. Like, truly, that was never really what I was thinking. I was like, okay, because I mean, I guess because I've seen so many fights, especially recently, where somebody does have, the arm drops, and then it's like, and then they let go, and then their face hits the canvas. I've seen that a couple of times recently. So I guess it's just because, especially even on Road to UFC, because I've been watching all these other ones where I have seen that it was like, okay, clearly he's unconscious, that now I can tell the difference, like that it was very obvious that he wasn't. I don't know. But I don't know. I didn't think the arm drop was anything. But again, I'm not standing 2 feet away from them. I'm not looking out for the safety of the people. It's completely different when you're in there and you're the ref and you're trying to make these quick decisions, because again, if what if you're wrong? You know what I mean? People don't necessarily think about that part of it, is what if I'm wrong? What if he actually is unconscious and I'm not stopping it? Because trust me, if he makes that mistake, there's a much bigger conversation coming on Sunday or Monday, and that would be, how did this guy die in the octagon? You know what I mean? So like, I see there's two mistakes you can make. That you either call it too early or you call it too late. And trust me, you don't want to be on the other side where you're calling it too late. So I kind of get it from that perspective. And when you look at it from that perspective too, it's like, safety matters more than anything. But, when we're on this side of it, when we're on the betting side, the viewer side, it's a lot worse. It really sucks for us. But again, you don't want to see it from the other side for sure. Because the last thing you want to happen is Daniel Lacerda, RIP, you know, down way too soon. That's not, you don't want to see that shit. So, I don't know. Just bring on the robots. That's what I'm waiting for. Bring on the robot refs that just stop the fights, because they're looking at their heart rate. They can see the heart rate and everything. They've got X-ray, like X-ray vision shit. They can see when somebody's arm is snapped and stuff like that. They can tell. The robots can tell when these people are unconscious. So then they'll stop the fights like that. Let's hurry in the robots. That's what I'm waiting for. I don't want human error. I don't want human refs. I don't want human judges. Give me the robots. That's what I want. We'll get there eventually. Moving on. It's our sniper pick of the night, of course. Roman Kopylov, Josh Fremd, and I mean, was this ever in doubt? This is what the sniper picks do. This is what these boys do, and ladies sometimes, very occasionally. This is what they do. They dominate start to finish. There's never a doubt. Just absolutely dominant win. Ends with a liver punch of all things. That's what it says on Tapology. It was a body shot TKO. It was incredible. And that doesn't happen very often either. And like I said, I think I said this anyway. This is why I wasn't going for first round kind of stuff. I mean, Fremd has shown some toughness before, so wasn't too surprised that it went that long. But again, never really a doubt though. And that guy, oh my god, I forgot to. Again, this is all this stuff at the start of the show really threw me off. I didn't have anything set up properly. So yeah, I forgot to mention, of course, the bets with Lacerda, and because that did end in a no contest, it actually ends up being okay for us in terms of the betting, because it ends up being a push because it was so early. Would have been great if it would have lasted over 1.5 and then happened, because then I could have cashed in one of the bets, but that's all good. So in terms of the bets, I did have the over 1.5 because I mean, even though there were a lot of first round finishes between the two, they both seemed pretty durable in that kind of matchup. Of course, clearly he was going to get submitted in the first round anyway, so obviously I was going to be wrong about that. So I'm definitely not complaining that we got a couple of pushes here, because it looked like I was on my way to going 0-2 for that, because I did go with Lacerda, the dog, because he's been so insane. I thought, okay, maybe he's got a chance at winning. And then, like I said, toughness, thought maybe we could go in the over 1.5. Neither one of those would have cashed, so I actually think we got a little bit lucky with the result on that one. But yeah, as a fan of the sport, definitely sucks to see. But yeah, now Roman Kopylov, and you're saying Roman Kopylov deserves a jump in opponents, a ranked fight. Yeah, I mean, 100%. I actually think he probably, let me actually see if he was set up to fight somebody else, because like I said, there were a lot of canceled fights, so he might have actually been already he was supposed to fight Anthony Hernandez, But of course, Anthony Hernandez was actually the original opponent of Chris Curtis. So this is actually a weird way that this matchup turned out, and it's why he wasn't fighting somebody ranked, because I'll tell you how this actually went. It was originally scheduled Chris Curtis, Alexander Hernandez. Alexander Hernandez is, oh, actually, no, I should say Chris Curtis then drops out. And then we see Roman Kopylov come in to fight Anthony Hernandez. So that's the matchup. Then Anthony Hernandez goes out. So there's no people in that original matchup anymore. It's literally just Roman Kopylov thinking he got in a fight. He was going to fight, I should say. Now he doesn't have an opponent. Wasn't even supposed to originally fight on this card, but I guess now he thinks, well, I'm committed to this date, especially being from Russia. I don't know where he trains, but I would imagine it's probably somewhere with a visa anyway. Thinking, well, I might as well fight, especially since Noche UFC, it's a big card. I'm going to wait for an opponent anyway, and that ends up being Josh Fremd, and that's how we end up with this fight. So he was not originally scheduled to fight Fremd, wasn't even originally on this card. So I 100% see why he was not scheduled to fight a better opponent here. And we have to remember, too, that Roman Kopylov, before this fight, let me see, just to get this right, who was he fighting in the matchup before this? Oh, he actually has never really fought anybody that elite. Which, if we're being real, pretty common for fighters from that region, Dagestan in general. They do tend to take fights that they know they have a very good chance of winning, because then they win, they get the win streak going, you win 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row, you start to climb the rankings. It's the classic Dagestani strategy. So I'm not really surprised that Kopylov is doing that, but will we see him in a ranked fight next? Probably, because now he's got, I think it's what did I just say? 4 wins in a row now. I mean, I didn't just say it, but I saw it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 wins in a row now. All finishes, I believe. Yes, 4 wins, all finishes. Yeah, he'll probably get a top 15 guy right now. Sam Alvey. Oh man, Sam Alvey, legend. But yeah, so that was the sniper pick. So that obviously easily cashed in. That was minus 350 I got him at, because I got a little bit earlier in the week. I put 7 full units on that, which means we got 9 full units back. That's 2 units up just on him winning alone. The sniper pick provides once again. And then we go to the actual bets of the fight in general, and not as lucky. I went with Kopylov KO. That was at minus 120. So he did get the KO, but the odds were just not ideal. Not ideal for that kind of thing. And I actually ended up going under 1.5, because I thought, okay, maybe he can get the KO earlier. And it was at a good price. It was at 140. I thought, okay, maybe it's plausible he gets the KO early. I was wrong about that. And that came down to the durability of Fremd. So, which again, I kind of saw that coming a little bit. So maybe regret the bet a little bit. But again, plus 140, under 1.5, and he ends up getting it, I believe, in the second round as it is anyway. Let's see where it was here. Yeah, it was 4 minutes and 44 seconds of the second round. So that's 2 minutes and 15 seconds away from me cashing it. Is 2 minutes, 15 seconds late. It happens. It happens. We almost got lucky. Things like that, sometimes it really is just down to luck. Like, it comes down to on the night. Like, did Fremd feel like he was going to be fighting back, or did he not? Like, if he gave up a little bit earlier, we would have cashed it in. It just comes down to stuff like that. Or maybe Kopylov went really hard earlier. We could have gotten an earlier finish that way. These are all the things that it's just all up in the air at all times. But yeah, so that would be minus 0.17 units when you don't include the sniper pick. When you do include the sniper pick, we're almost 2 units up. So in terms of that matchup, we did end up winning. But yeah, Not as much as we could have, I guess. Then we had the ladies, Lupi Godinez and Elise Reed. Played this one perfectly, I would say. And very happy too that Lupi Godinez won. Found out that she wasn't really necessarily training in Langley and Vancouver anymore, so that kind of sucks to see. But as a fan of Lupi Godinez, I'm happy because she probably is doing better training in Mexico. So nice to see that she's been getting a lot better. And I mean, my God, could you tell the difference? I don't know if how long you've been watching to know how good Lupi Godinez is and was before, but she's way better now than she was before for sure. And I was already impressed in her first few fights. Then it kind of seemed like she was going downhill a little bit, and I think that was also just that she was taking fights out of nowhere that she probably shouldn't have been taking, like the Angela Hill one. She shouldn't have taken that fight. So I don't know if it came down to that, but you can tell there's a very clear difference between Lupi Godinez now and even her last fight, and it's great to see. I'm very happy to see that. Yeah. So what I ended up doing with the bets, perfectly played here, went Godinez decision on the one side, that's plus 120, and balance that out with the under 2.5, which was at plus 120. So they're both plus money bets. And one of them cashes in, of course. She gets I believe it was a submission win, right? I'm pretty sure. Yep, submission, rear naked choke, second round. Yep. Which, by the way, I had that on Tapology. I literally had second round submission, and then I was like, she hasn't really looked like she's been finishing people in the last couple of fights. I'm going decision. Idiot. I should have listened to what I said, what I told myself originally, what I saw in the tape, which is a second round submission. I genuinely saw that because it was like Loma got the second round submission over Elise and Lupi beat Loma. So it was kind of like she could easily get the submission herself in the second round. I even said that to myself and I still didn't put it down on Tapology. But it's okay. I digress because we cashed in on the bet. That's 2.2 units for the under 2.5. Cash that in. We're 0.2 units up on that matchup. I mean, we cash in even more green. Have we even had? We have not had a loss on a matchup yet up until this point on the card. So we are really killing it on this card up until that point. And that actually continues into the next fight. That was Nelson and Padilla, which I guarantee you most people lost a lot of money on that fight because they all went in heavy on Padilla. And this is exactly what I was saying about Padilla before. It was actually more so about Nelson. It's why I put him at D. I did not put him in A, B, C. I did not put him up that high because I knew Kyle Nelson is a lot tougher than he looks. Yeah. So, he's been in a lot of decisions. He's been in a lot of split decisions. So kind of figured this is going to go over 2.5. So thought, okay, maybe Padilla can get the KO. Because who would pick the Canadian on Noche UFC? 100%. Exactly. And it's why I didn't go with just picking Nelson as an underdog in general. But I did balance it out by picking the over because of that exact reason. Because I was like, if Nelson does win, I know for a fact it's going to be by decision. So I'll balance it out with the over 2.5. And yeah, I mean, that's what happened. He got his decision. So we cashed in the over 2.5. And that was it. That was about it. So I went with Padilla KO. Obviously, that didn't cash in. That was plus 162. That would have been nice if he did get the KO. Didn't happen. Got the over 2.5 instead, and that was at plus 140. That's 2.4 units total. That's 0.4 units up in that matchup. We come out on top again, except for the parlays, though. He, of course, because he was in the D slot, Padilla was in the D slot. We did lose out on 3 of the parlays, but that is okay. That is a-okay. Because we still got a couple of the parlays. We still got 2 of the parlays. And like I said, we got money in that matchup anyway. So overall, that did not kill us at all. That was actually completely fine that that happened. Moving on once again, Christos Giagos and Zell Huber. And I went with the Zell Huber KO because, of course, I did. And that was at plus 250, which is a shockingly high betting line, which I thought was fantastic. And then I thought, well, if he doesn't get the KO, he's going to win a decision. So I went with the over 2.5, which was a plus 105. I thought I nailed that. Turns out there was another thing that I never would have thought would have happened, which would be a Zell Huber submission. I never could have seen that coming because was that not his first submission? I want to check this just to make sure. No, okay, never mind. He has had submissions before. He has had a couple of submissions, and then Giagos, has he been submitted before? Okay. It was basically 50-50, to be honest. I mean, they both got knockouts. Zell Huber's had knockouts and submissions, and Giagos has been knocked out and has been submitted. So I guess it wasn't a complete shocking surprise, but I will say, just based on their styles, I definitely thought it would have been more so Zell Huber KO. So kind of just got unlucky with that one. I mean, could he have gotten the ground and pound knockout? Yeah, probably. Could he have gotten a knockout on the feet? Yeah, probably. It's just one of those times, you know? It happens. It happens. And then, like I said, I mean, there's Zell Huber's last few fights have all been decisions. Giagos is pretty durable. I thought, okay, got an outside chance at a decision here too. Like I said, that's why I went with the over as well. It was just one of those times. It was just one of those times where you don't get anything you were looking for. And we got a Zell Huber submission. But that's okay. Because what was next made up for everything. Everything because of my psychology and the fact that I'm just amazing at this. Rosas KO. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? Rosas KO. I told you. I straight up told you he was going to come out there. He was going to prove to people that he can strike because Mitchell has been knocked out in both of his UFC related appearances in the first round. What happened? Rosas goes out there, goes balls to the wall with the striking, insane, goes for the first round KO, nails it. I'm amazing. Rosas is amazing. We're just too good at this. And what was that at? Plus 300. Plus 300. That's right. 4 units. 4 units for that one fight. And I didn't want to fuck around with any other bets. All I did was Rosas KO. Didn't do any over-unders, nothing else. Straight up, all in, Rosas KO. Nailed it perfectly. I will accept my applause now. Thank you. So yeah, obviously 3 units up in that matchup. That makes up for the last one. And really, I mean, we actually didn't have, actually, now that I'm looking at it, yeah, that's right. This is the first card that I did not have a complete shutout in any of my matchups. Huh. Did I? Oh wait, no, I just said one. Oh, that's right. Of course. Yeah, I literally just said one. Zell Huber. That was the only shutout. Other than that, that was it. So that's pretty impressive. That's pretty good. I did it. Yes, finally the psychology degree paid off. But that's, by the way, again, that's the second time I've nailed that. I did that with Bo Nickel. I did that with Rosas. I actually think I nailed it a third time, but now I can't remember. But definitely those two. I specifically called it right away. First round KOs, Bo Nickel, Rosas. We got it. We got it. Anyway, so that was fucking sick. That was awesome. Then we go to the co-main. You know, I mean, we actually talked about this, I think, I think we talked about this. Was it not you? I'm pretty sure. Um, maybe wasn't as exciting as some people were expecting. I mean, it was exactly what I expected. I don't know. Um, yeah, I don't know because Holland. Um, I don't even know what I was gonna say with it. Yeah, it was you. Okay, yeah. I'm trying to remember what I was gonna say here. Um, yeah, well, because like Holland, he's been iffy in some fights here and there, and I've noticed that. And I even said, actually, yeah, I did say that to you. It's like the last 5 fights or so, where it's like I know that I just can't trust Holland to be as good as we think he is. He just doesn't have that. He actually openly says that himself. He's not looking for a belt. He's looking to fight, and that kind of mindset, it's great. It's very entertaining sometimes, but that mindset kind of means that you're I don't want to say that he's not taking it as seriously, but there's a distinct difference, and I think that we you could see that when you were looking at JDM versus looking at Holland, because I think they have very similar skill sets. I mean, JDM obviously a little bit quicker, a little bit more diverse strikes, let's say, because there's a lot more body shots, a lot of kicks. But there was that intensity where he's like, I don't care like what you're saying, like I'm gonna win. That's the attitude that JDM has. He's like, I'm gonna win. I don't really care what you're saying or what you're doing. I'm gonna win. I will go in there and do whatever I can to win. Whereas I just honestly have not seen that from Holland. I'm a fan of Kevin Holland, but I think there's a pretty clear difference between those two kinds of people. And then not only was it just that mindset kind of thing, it was also like he's not as active, you know? He's not throwing out as much offense. And JDM throws out a lot of offense. And we've seen that over and over again. He pressures people back. And we also know that Holland doesn't deal well with forward pressuring people. So that's why it made a lot of sense to me that JDM was going to win, which is why I did pick him in this again, which is what I was saying before. Um, and it also made sense to me that this fight went exactly the way it did because JDM doesn't want to lose. As I said, he'll do anything to win. He's not going to do anything stupid. And the only way that you're going to lose to Holland, really, at that level, at that skill level, the only way that you're going to lose to Holland is by being dumb, is by doing something stupid, but like running in recklessly and just getting cracked, and then that's it. That's really the only way you're going to be losing to him. Or he catches you off guard with a submission, he knocks you down, you get subbed, something like that. But you're probably not going to lose to him with that JDM kind of style, the active striker style. That person's probably not going to lose to Holland because Holland just doesn't have that level of activity. So I wasn't really surprised by the win. Well, I definitely wasn't surprised by the win because I picked him on Tapology and with the bets. But I wasn't really surprised with the way the fight played out at all. I heard a lot on both sides. I heard some people weren't really surprised like me, but I heard a lot of people were like, "Oh, I thought this was going to be a banger. I thought this was going to be crazy." It's like, no. But yeah, JDM versus Shavkat, UFC 295. 295. What's 295? Is that MSG? Is that Jones? I can't remember when that is. I can't even remember which one we just had. I think that was 293. I could see. I honestly don't think they're going to do that. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that because I think they like JDM a lot. And I think they also very clearly like Shavkat a lot. So I don't know if you really want to kill off a prospect like that, especially like JDM, because I think we kind of realize what's going to happen. Shavkat is obviously going to just out grapple him, wildly out grapple him, and it's going to be like, well, this sucks. So I think they kind of realize like, okay, Shavkat's probably just going to grapple him, and Everybody's going to be sad that JDM lost like that, and it's not going to be as fun. So I don't know. I don't know if they're going to go that direction with it. I don't know. If anybody, and I think that's why they went with, I think it was Neil, right? It was Neil and Shavkat. That's what was going on before, right? I think that was his last fight. That's why they went with that, because the UFC doesn't really care about Neil at all. So they were fine. They were fine with Shavkat beating Neil because they don't really care. But they like JDM. So I don't think they really want to do that. Yeah. I don't know. So there's always a lot of politics. There's always a lot of everything going on. You can never really tell what they're going to do. I'd be a little surprised though. If anything, it's somebody that they're going to want to get rid of, that they're going to feed to Shavkat. It would probably be somebody like, I mean, I want to say it'd be somebody like Colby, but I don't think they'd ever let something like that happen to Colby. Oh man, I could see Usman. That makes sense. Like Usman and Shavkat. I'd like to see that. I think that's more a direction that they would probably go in, because Usman's kind of on his way out. He's also was just a champion, so you get to test Shavkat. I think all around that's probably more where they're going to go, and especially since neither one of them has fought in a while, I think that would be a better plan. And I'd like to see that Shavkat and Usman, especially with the grappling involved, and then they both have some good striking in there too. I think that'd be great. Love to see that. Anyway, moving on. Oh yeah, so the bets with Holland. I did, just in case Holland got a KO or some shit, I did balance it out a little bit. So I had Holland at plus 110. So I did put a little bit to balance it out. But on the other side, this is where we actually got even a huge, some good profit here, was JDM decision. I could not believe Usman switched gyms so he wouldn't have to fight him. Maybe. A JDM decision. I could not believe what this line was set at. This was at plus 350. JDM by decision was plus 350. My God, did I nail that? I put the bet down, nailed that, had it on Tapology, JDM decision, nailed it perfectly. I don't really know why that was set so high, because we've never seen Holland get knocked out. Like, he's only ever been just wrestle fucked to a decision, and he lost that one fight to Wonder Boy, which wasn't a knockout. That was in between rounds, and he was like, I can't fight anymore because my hand's broken. I literally can't throw punches anymore. So he was just like, I'm done. I can't. Like, they just called it. So that's not a knockout. And it's also, that was after the fourth round. So it's kind of like, that's, it's not going to, JDM is not going to be able to do that in 3 rounds. So it's like, there's no way there's going to be a knockout. I don't think JDM is going to go grappling and submit him. That I don't see happening at all. So decisions seem like the most obvious way to go. I don't know. So plus 350, we nailed it. We nailed it on that. Took advantage of that great line. 4.5 units. So that is 2.5 units in the green. Perfect. And that was it for the co-main, even though, again, wasn't really the most exciting fight. We actually talked quite a bit about that, even though it was one of the worst fights of the night. But yeah, so that was fantastic. And then that brings us to the main event. I'm going to have a swig of water here. Oh, wow. Invisible water. Well, all water is invisible. What am I talking about? Okay. I went a little bit more conservative with the bets on this one too, only because normally in these main events, there's always some kind of third bet that I can do. Usually it's like, most significant strikes, takedowns, blah, 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 stuff like that. In this one, honestly, they're so evenly matched. And even in the first fight, they're so, evenly matched that, I wasn't really confident in any of the third bets at all. Because I was like, well, I can't confidently say that Grasso is going to get the most significant strikes, because Valentina could easily just outwork her on the feet. She could do a bunch of kicks. She could do ground and pound, like clinch strikes. You had never know with strikes. And takedowns, I was like, well, I could go Valentina on takedowns, but Grasso had a bunch of takedowns the first fight too. So just all around, I was like, I don't really know what to do with this, so I'm just not going to do anything. And that usually is the best way to go with betting. If you don't know what to do, don't do anything. So instead, what I did was I went with Grasso, of course, because I did say that was my pick. My pick was Grasso. Oh yeah, we'll get into that. Who I thought won for sure. We'll get into that. But yeah, we'll get into the bets first. So I had Grasso 130. And of course, that ends up being a push because of the draw. So thankfully, we didn't lose any money, which is fantastic because if it was scored properly, clearly Valentina would have won. You know, the 10-8 should have been a 10-9. That then would have meant that Shevchenko won. So it's actually fantastic that he made that mistake because then we don't lose the money on the Grasso bet. The other bet I had was the under 4.5. And I thought this really, I mean, holy shit, this could have cashed in multiple times. There were so many chances that could have cashed in. So many in multiple different rounds we could have gotten that. So that's a little unlucky that doesn't cash in. That was at plus 130, so that didn't get cashed in. So we do lose money on that matchup as well. But like I said, because of the push, it wasn't really that bad. We didn't really lose that much money. It was only 1 unit down on that one. And as for the fight itself, I will actually go. Where's my phone here? Ugh. I will actually go on. Oh, Izzy's. Oh, that's interesting. Israel Adesanya breaks is silent for the first time since fighting Sean Strickland. So apparently Izzy is releasing some sort of message right now. I just got the notification from Verdict MMA, which is where I was just about to go. Because I was going to say, because they keep your scores, they keep how you score fights. So I will actually be able to, by the way, look at that. Boom, bada bing, bada boom. Another gold medal for me for the Dana White's Contender Series last night. And what is that? What's this? What's that? Is that 3 gold medals in a row? Oh, fuck. I guess you can't see actually. But it's 3 gold medals in a row. Contender Series, 2 weeks in a row. I got the gold medal. Got the gold medal at Grasso Shevchenko. Anyway, but yeah, they keep your records here of how you score the fights. And I did have my scorecard here, as you can see. So if you look at that, I did have Shevchenko winning. I had first, third, and fourth. And I think that's the general. I think that's kind of the general consensus. Because, I mean, the first round was obvious. I mean, clearly. Third, fourth round, I think the third round was the other obvious one. And then the fourth round was the one that was kind of tripping some people up. And from what I remember, it was because I did it the fourth round for Shevchenko. I honestly can't really tell you why I scored it that way. It was probably because of damage, I'm guessing. But yeah, I honestly can't remember the specific details of the fight that led me to score those things that way. But yes, I had it 3 rounds to 2 for Shevchenko, which again, I do think that was kind of the prevailing opinion out of most people, was that she did win 3 rounds to 2. Also, definitely need to address the fact that she kept saying the knees were illegal, and she still kind of is talking about that. She even mentioned that on Ariel's show. It definitely wasn't, and even as it was happening, I was like, fuck, that's obviously legal. It just sucks. Because it's like, yeah, that was just a mistake on Valentina's part, because she clearly still doesn't even know the rules. I mean, obviously, like, she actually made that very clear that she still doesn't really fully understand the rules on that one, and that really 100% is why she lost that round. I mean, clearly she lost the second round because of that. She got nailed by a bunch of knees and then was pushed into the fence and then all that shit. It's like, yeah, you lost that round because of that. Like, if you wouldn't have done that, I don't know, you probably still would have lost the round, but it definitely wouldn't have been like that. And you wouldn't have been rocked and everything, but yeah. And you like how she called out the Noche UFC bias. It could have played into it. I mean, I think what she was getting at, and she did kind of explain this too, is that the crowd can bias the judges, and she's got a point. I actually it's happened before. We have seen this. I mean, it happened with Patty. It's not insane to say that that is exactly what happened again, because I mean, truly, how would you justify a 10-8? I mean, other than that, like other than thinking, like watching it and being like, okay, this is a pedestrian round. I didn't think that because clearly Valentina was doing some good stuff before that. But maybe he's just thinking, oh, this is a dead even round before this. And then out of nowhere, Grasso gets this, the huge shots in. She's almost finishing it. Oh my God. Like, oh my God, Grasso's about to win. She's about to win the belt. Oh my goodness. And then, oh, the crowd's going crazy. Oh my God, it's the loudest crowd I've ever been in. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's so loud. That can definitely affect you when there's nothing else going on before that. And then out of nowhere, the crowd, it's, you can't even hear anything. It's so loud. And then you see Shevchenko on the ground. She's getting beat, with ground and pound submission, whatever. That's literally the only thing that I could possibly think of. The only reason I could ever come up with that somebody would ever score that a 10-8 is that the crowd just really, really got them in that moment, and it just clouded that, and then they scored it a 10-8. That's the only thing I could think of. Other than that, or is it's exactly what some other people are thinking? Some more, you know, jaded people, I would say, are saying they think he wanted to just even up the fight. He didn't really know who won, so he ended up giving a 10-8 round in the last round just so that it was a draw on his card. That's what a lot of people think, and I'm like, yeah, no, I don't think that's what he was doing. I mean, maybe that's what he was doing, but I don't think so. Because he's not like that. Because we've seen Mike Bell before all the time. He's there almost every week, and he's never done anything like. I honestly don't think he was ever in any of my worst cards of the month, because I still obviously have that on Instagram where I pick the worst judges cards of the month. I honestly don't think Mike Bell was on any of those, so I know he's a good judge. So I don't know. I don't know what was happening, and again, really could have very easily been because of the crowd. So yeah, I don't know. Valentina is very smart. And I mean, some people might take it the wrong way because they think, oh, she's the one fighting. She's talking about, she just thinks everybody's against her and blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, she's not like that. She's really not like that at all. She can see through that and think, well, I don't normally, it wasn't anything that I did that lost me the fight, which is true, you know it's kind of just the way it was scored, because if you go by the way it should have been scored, she did win. I don't know. And if she would have known the rules, I mean, that's another thing too. She really should have known that you can't do that with the hand and then, getting kneed in the face like that. She probably would have been doing better, actually. She said that herself. I mean, she got kneed in the face multiple times. What do you think's going to happen? It's not going to be good. Anyway, those are my thoughts on that, really. Yeah. Oh, and then I mean, like, what's next? I mean, I kind of agree with what everybody else has been saying too. I mean, obviously, you should do a rematch, but we know also that Valentina's hurt, so we know that that's not happening next. I'm sure. I'd be surprised if that's what happened next, which means there's only really one of two people that's up next, and that's either, everybody's been saying it, Erin Blanchfield or Manon Fiorot. I had to remember her name there, and that's exactly why I think it's pretty obvious who's getting the next title shot, and it's Erin Blanchfield. Because if I can't even remember off the top of my head who the other person is, that's the problem. That is the problem. You are not the focus of the UFC. You know what I mean? They're all in on Erin Blanchfield. They love her. They want to promote her. She's young. She's got a great skill set. She's nice. She's never done anything controversial. She probably won't do anything controversial. She's just a really cool person. So I think that's got to be what's happening next. It's got to be Aaron Blanchfield going against Grasso. That's probably what's going to happen. I just don't really see any other way that the UFC would be playing that, unless unless they just wait and say, oh well, maybe Valentina will be fine in 4 months. We'll do the rematch then. But other than that, I really can't see it being anybody else. I can't even see it being Manon Fiorot. I can't really see it being anybody else other than that. I really can't think of anybody that they would even think of doing, because it just wouldn't make any sense. So yeah, I'm guessing Blanchfield is going to get that next shot. But whenever Shevchenko is back and whoever is the champ, it doesn't matter if it's Grasso or not. I mean, you clearly got to give her the title shot. I don't know how you could not give her a title shot after everything, especially when she pretty much won this fight. I don't really know how you wouldn't give it to her. And yeah, that's it. And we'll go over the parlays and the final numbers, and then we will take a quick break and come back for UFC Vegas. And I'm genuinely not sure if it's UFC Vegas 78 or 79. I just put up 78 because I was running close on time. I was already late, so I was like, I'll just put in 78. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I'm not 100% sure though. It could be 79. There's so many at this point. I mean, I've been watching them since UFC Vegas 1. So trust me, I have no idea where we're at. I don't even know what day it is anymore. No, I'm kidding. I always know it's Wednesday, obviously, or else I wouldn't be here. Yeah, UFC Vegas a lot. That's true. I mean, just wait until UFC Vegas 100. They better blow that shit out. UFC Vegas 100. It better be crazy. They better go all out for that one. Anyway, so parlays. A, B, and C all cash in. That was Kopylov, Rosas, and Godinez. I mean, was there really a doubt on any of those? I don't think so. So clearly cash that one in. That's the triple play right there. ABC. 1 unit, and that is 1.76 units total back. That is 0.76 units of profit, which, by the way, if you're doing the math, that actually does cancel out the loss that we took in the Grand Slam, and then a little bit of profit. By the way, actually, this message is probably just for you. I have also, oh, it's 79. Fuck. Okay. I'll need to change that later. Thank you. Well, I mean, I was going to check it anyways later, but still, thank you. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. I added a section to my Google Docs sheet or whatever it is. Is it Google Docs? Yeah, whatever. The Excel kind of one. For just the numbers related to my posts on Instagram and Twitter. So the ones that we're making, those posts, I made specific numbers for there because I think honestly those are the most important ones, because those are the ones that everybody's going to be seeing, and that there is actual like a full-on record of that I'm not going to delete, which would be on Instagram and Twitter all the time. So I think it's good to keep a separate record of those. So yeah, I can also give you those numbers at the end too, what those were like, because yeah, there was definitely fully in the green there. That was fantastic. That worked out perfectly. So yeah, as I mentioned then, yes, the Grand Slam did not cash in because that included D, which was Padilla. So he lost, didn't cash that in. But in terms of the other parlays, because I always do 5, we cashed in one other one, which was BCE. That is Rosas, Godinez, and Knutson, which also cashed in pretty easily, which would be minus 172. So I mean, the odds weren't amazing on that. I mean, it's a 3-leg parlay at minus 172. Not ideal, but we got the win easily, so I guess it's fine. And that's 0.8 units. So you add the 0.8 to the 1.76, that is 2.56 units. I put in 3 units. So technically on the parlays, I lost a little bit, half a unit. But when you actually look at the ones that I posted on Instagram, I was up. I was up 0.2 units, which I guess is better because it looks better online. But yeah, those are actually the ones that I do want to post, like the recap of, like, when I was saying, like, we're going to do a recap, we need to post the recap on Instagram and Twitter. I do mean only the ones that I post on Twitter. So that's the top dog, sniper pick, and the parlays. Yeah. Which, like I said, was good this week. Very good this week. And then, of course, as I mentioned, Kopilov wins. So we got that too. Oh, yeah. So overall, if you were curious about the entire system and what the numbers were like there, that was 7.13 units up on that top half. So those are the single bets. Those are the money lines, the over-unders, the prop bets. That's 7.13 units up. And then, of course, you subtract the half a unit from the parlays. Sucks, but hey, it happens. And it was really just because of the odds. Like I regularly get 5 out of 6 right or 4 out of 6 right, and I usually can still make money. But because the odds were so ridiculous, didn't happen this time. We couldn't make profit out of 5 out of 6. Excuse me. But yeah, we do need to do that. Anyway, that adds up to 6.69 units. The best the best unit number, the best profits we've ever seen, 6.69. Yeah, so great week overall. Yeah, nothing else to say. It was just a great week. But yeah, if you go to the actual BBBets results, Blues Best Bets results, this would be what is on Instagram and Twitter. I was up 2.26 units. 2.26 units. That's what I was at. Because if you do the math there, the Grand Slam was negative half a unit, of course. Grasso was a push. So we didn't lose the top dog. We actually got our money back. So that's just a 0. So, put 1 unit down, get 1 unit back. That's just 0. And the parlay, the triple play made up for the missing the other one, which is why I did it the way I did. Because if you get the triple play, you don't actually need the other one. You actually still get profit no matter what. So we nailed that. So we win money on the parlays. The top dog is a push, so that's a 0. And then, of course, we win the sniper pick, which is 9 units, 2 units of profit. So that's why I'm saying 2 units up for the sniper pick, then 0.26 units up on the parlays. That is 2.26 for the ones that we did in the posts. Pretty good. Pretty good. I'm happy about that. 2.26 units up. That is magic. So I'll keep a running tab on that. And I would say at the end of each month, or maybe even every 2 weeks, I'll post a recap to be like, hey, this is what we're at overall. This is what we're at this month, maybe. Yeah, because I think it'd be cool to show like, hey, I'm 19 and 20 on the sniper picks or blah, 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 something like that. I think that'd be cool to show. And then the units and all that. I'm thinking of, I considered doing Bellator this week as well. Not with the parlays. I would just do sniper picks for Bellator. So I'm considering doing that. So if you want to do that, I mean, it's only one extra thing for the week if you want to do that. I'm not trying to, because I mean, I do regularly do parlays with Bellator as well. I'm just trying to make it easy and everything. So, just do the sniper picks for these things for now. I also had one for the contender series, which cashed in. That would end up being a Gaziev. Shamil. But at that point, it was like, it's my birthday. I don't really want to fuck around. And, it was like, I don't really want to make you do a pick for the contender series this late notice. So I'm just not going to do it. But I did end up making the sniper pick and it did cash in with Shamil. That was easy too. But yeah, I'm thinking of doing Bellator. So yeah, I'll probably give you my Bellator pick tomorrow, maybe. I hear a lot of noise outside. That was weird. Oh man, what was I gonna say? It was about Bellator. So yeah, I'll probably send you the pick tomorrow anyway. I might pick tonight, but I do need to make my final picks for the UFC as well because I haven't quite watched all the tape. I have finished 2/3 of the card with the tape, but not quite all of it. And yeah, I'll give a quick recap of my birthday, I guess. I mean, nothing really happened. It's the same as every other day. I do the same thing every day of the year, pretty much. So basically do the same things every other day, which is just working on picks, working on bets, working on making my game, working on everything else basically. Ordered a nice meal for dinner. It was pretty good. Had some poutine, had some wings. It was really good. Pub food from a pub. We've got great pubs here, of course. And what else did I do? Well, I got one of the best gifts I've ever gotten. Actually, funny enough, my gift is literally right here. I know it's nerdy, but it's who I am. I got this. It is not a Game Boy or it's not like a generic kind of thing. What it is it's essentially a handheld gaming device, obviously, very clearly, but it can play literally any game before about 2012. So there's over 4,000 games on that, including, normal ones you've heard of, there's Pokemon games on there. There, like Pokemon Red, Blue, Ruby, Sapphire. There's other ones like I'm just playing Fire Emblem now. There's just literally thousands of games on there, and you can put any game on there. So it's fucking awesome. So I've been playing with that a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, maybe a little bit too much. That it's distracting me a little bit, but I'm working on it. But yeah, no, it is super sick. I loved it. I mean, it's like a little over $100, and I mean, you can put any game on it. I mean, that's fucking sick. And it saves everything too. It's not like you lose your data or anything like that. It's so sick. Anyway, I just like video games. I mean, clearly I make video games too. So obviously I've always liked video games. But yeah, so that's just nerdy old me. Anyway, moving on. But yeah, that was it though. So it was a good day. It was a good day. Yeah. So we'll take a short break. I don't even, do we even want to take breaks anymore? I even said this earlier, like I don't get paid for these ads. Nobody gets paid. I don't even know if they get paid for these ads anymore. So fuck the breaks. I might even, what I actually want to do eventually, and maybe you can help me do this. I want to actually make my own ads in the middle, like for my stuff. You know what I mean? I want to make trailers for BBBets. I want to make trailers for the game, and then I'll throw ads for the game in there. I want to eventually do stuff like that instead of just promote myself. I don't give a fuck about all these other ones. Like I'm not getting money. Unless of course people want to pay me to then I'll throw your ads on here too. Maybe I'll even make an ad for you for your product. I don't know, whatever I feel like. Oh, I'm always tired, It says, I think you should just do the breaks if you want to, or if you feel tired. Yeah. I used to do it as a nice break in between just because it's a nice segue. It's a nice palate cleanser. Like, okay, we just talked about the last card. Let's have a short break. So water, then we'll just move on to the next one. But it's a minute. Like I'm not resting for a minute. It doesn't matter. And I can still have water in the middle of it anyway. Watch this. I mean, I just did it. But yeah, I was thinking of doing something like that. But yeah, I'm not really sure about playing their ads anymore, honestly. Because like I said, nobody's even told me if they still pay them to play the ads. Nobody's told me shit. Nobody tells me anything about anything. So I'm just doing what I want here. So I'm not going to play the ads. Oh, that's interesting. My uncle just emailed me back. That's funny. Because for some reason, this shitty computer has all my emails pop up on the screen. It's like, bruh, I don't want this. I hate this is why I only do Mac, by the way, because they don't do dumb shit like that where they're like, oh, here's all these features and alerts that you never asked for and would never want. Oh, thanks, Windows. Thanks for slowing my computer down, murdering my computer in the last 2 years. Like, wow, that's great. Anyway, yeah, unless they said otherwise, who cares? Exactly. And by the way, and like I said, it's a new owner, and the new owner, I don't even think he knows who I am, hasn't even talked to me. He probably doesn't even know I do this. So fuck it. You know what I mean? Fuck it. Moving on. And like maybe, with all these new posts and I'll start posting more, maybe we can get another sponsor for myself. Anyway, moving on from the politics of everything, we've got another card to talk about, and that is UFC Vegas 79. Now I know it's 79. Oh, I had it written down as UFC Vegas 79 on my fucking laptop. I just didn't have a chance to look at it yet. Well, that's embarrassing. So I already knew it was 79. It was written right there. I just didn't have it on this screen, which meant that I typed it in wrong on the stream. Either way, we're still moving on again. This time for real. Tamiris Vidal and who the hell is this? Who is this? Montserrat Rendon. I don't know. I watched the tape. She's undefeated. Rendon is undefeated. I watched the tape. Honestly, wasn't really all that impressed. Wasn't all that impressed on paper either. I mean, I think she was a little older too. Let me see this just to make sure. Yeah, she's 34. Vidal is a lot younger than that. I think she seemed a little bit smaller than Vidal too. So she's already got size and age going against her. Didn't really look good on tape either, by the way, like as I was mentioning. And I think that she was mostly I could be wrong here, but I think she was grappling a lot. Yeah, she was doing grappling tournaments. And Vidal also does grappling, but she's really more dangerous on the feet, and she's very dangerous on the feet. So I don't really think that somebody like that can handle being in a cage on the feet with somebody like Vidal. So I'm going to assume that this is probably going to be a finish. I think that's pretty reasonable, to be honest. I think that's going to be pretty likely. If not, though, I would say Vidal is going to win a pretty obvious decision win. And the way that the odds worked out on this, because Betway has their odds up, and that's where I make these prop bets specifically, especially this early in the week. I already know what I'm going to do for these first 5 fights because I've already made the bets and everything. So there's nothing up in the air. These are the bets for these first 5 fights. And that is opening with Vidal by finish, because like I said, really was not impressed on paper. Vidal has already gotten a couple finishes in the UFC or been in front of UFC audiences, including the Contender Series. The other one just doesn't look, and the other one just doesn't look all that impressive at all. And that is at plus 200 right now. Because the odds on Vidal herself, if we go to there, it is, where is it? Where is she on here? Did they cancel this fight or something? Oh, there it is. Okay. She's a minus 250. So obviously I had to lower that down. They were going towards a decision, but like I said, there's a clear age difference, a clear size difference, a clear striking skill difference, and just experience difference. So there's a huge difference in every single facet of this matchup, and it all goes towards Vidal. That to me means there's probably going to be a finish. So I'm just going in on the finish. Nothing else. No other bets. Vidal finish at plus 200. I already locked it in. Moving on. Inoue and Goldie. This one actually is a bit interesting. This is very interesting, especially on paper. To the point where I wasn't actually sure, funny enough, who to pick, even though you might think it would be pretty obvious to pick Inoue on this one. I should say Mizuki, because she actually only went by Mizuki for a while. One word, one name. I love it because that's what I do too. But online and everywhere else, it is Inoue, Mizuki Inoue. Yeah, I mean, she's been away for quite a while. I forget when. Let me see again. Gotta be accurate on this. When was the last time she fought? I remember it was a couple years ago. Yeah, her last fight was against Amanda Lemos in 2020, which is pretty impressive because Amanda Lemos is very good. And she was good back then because I watched the tape and yep, it's still Amanda Lemos. She is still very good even in 2020. And Inoue definitely struggled with that. I think it's pretty obvious though that Goldie is nowhere near as good as Amanda Lemos. I think that's pretty obvious. So that I think kind of influenced me a little bit because I was a little worried. You got to imagine again though, 3-year layoff, I should say. Not great. And on Goldie's side, I think we're kind of seeing the opposite. I think we're kind of getting thrown off a little bit that we're kind of thinking, oh, maybe she's just complete shit. Because if you look at it, I mean, if you watched her last fight, that was the one against Molly McCann. She got knocked out in the first round. But it's like, if you really think about it a little bit more, I mean, that's not really that crazy. I mean, Molly McCann is kind of a top 15, top 20. She's a very good boxer. She's shit on the ground. We all know that. That's her one weakness, though. I mean, she's great on the feet. McCann just doesn't really grapple. Goldie, I mean, she can strike a little bit. She can grapple pretty well. But she also fights at 115 normally. Molly McCann is usually 125. So there was also that difference too. So really that matchup in itself shouldn't really throw you off from anything. I mean, it's Molly McCann in London and she's a weight class up. Like, it shouldn't be that crazy that she got knocked out in the first round, which is why I picked that when it happened. And then before that, she beat Emily Whitmire in the first round with an armbar. But then of course lost her 2 fights before that. Oh, that's right. Oh, I remember what ended up making me pick my pick here. I remember seeing this because I remember thinking, okay, well, she did beat Emily Whitmire. That's a win. That's an armbar. She can grapple. Not sure how well Inoue grapples, especially with the size of Goldie. But what actually flipped everything for me, and it's why I ended up going with Inoue by decision. Now I remember. I should maybe sometimes I should write more notes so I remember my train of thought. But I ended up picking Inoue because Goldie actually was losing the fight that she won against Whitmire before that. Before she ended up winning that by armbar. She actually was losing on the feet. She got taken down and kind of was getting dominated on the ground and then slipped in an armbar and won. That's how she won. That's how she got that one UFC win. All of the other ones were pretty convincing losses. So when I saw that and figured that out, I was like, oh, okay. I see what they're doing now. Okay. Mizuki should pretty easily win this because they're basically just giving her a matchup that she should be able to win on her way back because they want to see the Japanese fighters win. And we've known that for a while. We know the UFC wants to see Japan win. We've seen that over and over and over again. So I would imagine this is one of those times where they're like, I don't know how good Mizuki is going to be showing up. So we're going to give her somebody that should lose to pretty much everybody in the UFC, Hannah Goldie. So that's where that was my logic behind it. And I stand by that because, yeah, Hannah Goldie really was not good in any of those fights, which led me to pick Inoue by decision. That's minus 125. And I was going to balance that out with the under 2.5 because I already know that's a plus money. And I think that's pretty reasonable because I think Mizuki could. I mean, if she shows up like she has been on a 3-year layoff, maybe she does get finished by Goldie. That would be sad, but might happen. And On the other hand, Mizuki is very live for a finish because Goldie's also not very good. So under 2.5 seems plausible. And then, like I said, balance it out with the Inoue decision at minus 120. So if Inoue gets the decision, technically, I guess we would be losing money, minus 120. But we've been doing this strategy and it's been working. So we're going to keep riding with it. I like it. Moving on, we've got the less good Usman. That is Mohammed Usman and Jake Collier. And I'm not going to lie, I was a little bit 50-50 on this matchup as well, even though that might surprise a lot of people considering it's Jake Collier. But Mohammed Usman is not very good, people. He is not very good. So I'm still a little bit worried about it, but I think I found the way to balance this one out perfectly. And that is by picking Usman decision, which is at plus 130, and then balancing that out with the under 2.5. So yes, it's the same thing that I just did, but these are both at plus money. And I think it's pretty clear why I'm doing that, because Usman really only ever wins by decision. So that plays into the Usman decision. And if he gets a finish, of course, there's the under 2.5 that cashes in anyway. But on the other side of it, I could actually very easily see Jake Collier getting a KO. Sounds crazy because Jake Collier doesn't really have very many finishes, and Mohammed Usman has only been finished, I think, once. So people might be a little shocked to hear that. But once you see Mohammed Usman in there with Collier, I think you're going to see what I mean. Because right away, you're going to see Collier go in there and blitz him with some of the craziest boxing you've ever seen at heavyweight. He's going to go in there and go, bah, 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 bah. Get Usman. He's probably going to knock him. He might even knock him down. He's definitely going to catch him off guard. And then Usman's going to go in there and, push him into the fence. That's exactly what's going to happen. I'm calling it right now. I don't think there's any doubt that that's exactly what's going to happen. Which exactly is why I'm worried about Usman a little bit, because Collier can blitz people like that. He does that every single time. He can knock you out, and Usman gets hit a lot. So I'm a little bit worried that Usman is going to get knocked out. That's the reason why that's also the reason why I have him lower. I actually didn't even put him in the parlays because of that exact reason. I do not trust him at all. So yeah, could I put Collier as the dog in there and put him in there to, for those odds? I'm starting to lose it again, as you can see, starting to lose it. Could I do that? Yes, but I don't want to, because like I said, it makes more sense to balance it out with Usman decision and the under 2.5, over 2.5. My bad. Just the way that they work. Oh, under 2.5. I was right. It was under 2.5. I was looking at the wrong betting line. Lol. But yeah. So I think that's already perfect. We're good there. We're gonna win one of those, I'm sure. So yeah, moving on. We've got Malkoon and Brundage. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit more worried about this one too. And this is what we were talking about just earlier. These fight night cards, the ones that don't have any specific crowd or group behind it. It's not a pay-per-view. It's not Noche UFC. It's not UFC Paris. These cards are a lot harder to predict because truly anything can happen in most of these matchups. Like, they are very random matchups most of the time too. So yeah, anything can happen in these. And this is exactly what I'm getting at. Because in this one as well, Malkoon has looked pretty good, but he's never been like somebody that people talk about and somebody that people think like, oh, wow, okay, he's live for a finish. Like, oh, he's so dangerous. Nobody's saying that about Malkoon. He's more the kind of guy that just wins the decision. He wrestles you. He hits hard. He wrestles you, but he's probably not going to get a finish. That's kind of what he's been doing here. But now he's going against somebody that almost exclusively gets finished or gets finishes. So this really could go either way. I mean, we could either see what we saw with Brundage last time, which is a garbage decision that nobody wants to see, that he should have easily won. That was against Cedric Duma. I don't know if you remember that awful fight where Brundage should very clearly have won that and was winning the first round, and then seemed to have just given up. He just gave up, and then Duma just laid on top of him for 2.5 rounds. One of the worst fights of the year for sure. And that was Brundage. Malkoun can actually grapple and Duma cannot. So the fact that Duma somehow managed to win a decision like that is baffling to me. Whereas Malkoun is so good that he can do that to pretty much anybody. So I don't really see any way that Brundage could win this except for grabbing a finish out of nowhere, essentially. Which is why the best way to balance this out is, of course, Malkoun decision on one side with at plus 130, and then balancing that out with under 2.5 plus 110 on the other side, which I think makes a lot of sense. Like I said, because if Brundage wins, it is sure as shit going to be because of a finish. It is definitely not going to be because of a decision. So the under accounts for that. And then, of course, the Malkoun decision accounts for the most likely scenario, which is Malkoun decision plus 130. So I would say that is another win-win scenario. I think we've got, well, those last two are very strong, I feel. Oh, you got to go. That's too bad. But yes, I will send you the pick for Bellator and any numbers that that'll make for the card tomorrow. Yes. 100%. I will get you that, of course. But yeah. See you later, I guess. Thanks for watching and thanks for helping out, of course. But yeah, moving on. That brings us to Tim Means and Andre Fialho. I mean, this is another deceptively tough one, to be honest, because Means is a lot older and he doesn't necessarily have the big wins, but my God, is he tough. He never gives up. He's so tough, and he is actually pretty skilled, which worries me a little bit about Andre Fialho because he's just so reckless and he clearly doesn't care about danger coming back at him. So it's like he really could go out there and either just destroy Tim Means in the first round, or he could go crazy and then kind of lose out on his cardio and then start to kind of fall apart and Tim Means wins the decision. That genuinely does worry me a little bit. But I just, you got to go with the younger guy in this case. I mean, Means hasn't really looked like he's been competitive at that kind of level. And Fialho has only been losing because he's getting knocked out, and he's only getting knocked out because he's going against guys like Buckley. And then who else knocked him out too? Oh yeah, Jake Matthews, of course. But there was another one in between as well. Let me see here. Let me see. Don't fail me now, Tapology. We're right here. Where are we? Oh yeah, Muslim Salikov. So I mean, he was knocked out 3 times in a row now. Listen, Tim Means is not a knockout threat. So that's why this one convinces me, okay, Tim Means is not going to knock out Andre Fialho. That to me means the pressure fighter, the guy who's always walking forward, is probably going to win. And that's Andre Fialho, especially considering he's younger. He's got the power. He's got the skill. It's his fight to lose. I think you got to go with Andre Fialho. And to lower the odds, because they are currently at, what are we at here? Minus 188. That's actually not bad, to be honest. But to lower those, we will go with Fialho by KO. And then to balance that out, which is currently at plus 100, by the way. That's what I got it at. Amazing number. I will balance that out with the over 2.5 because Tim Means is pretty durable. So I really would not be surprised if this was a decision. And also, like I said, Means isn't going to finish him. So the only way for him to win is a decision. So that also, as always, covers up that other scenario, which is Means winning by decision with the over 2.5. So once again, I feel fantastic about the betting lines in this one because over is, I remember that for sure was a plus money bet. And those were the last ones that I had actually watched tape on. So the next ones are just going to be basically right now what I remember from the other fights. And then, of course, Tapology in front of me here, except for the main event. The main event I also watched tape for because I wanted to make sure that I made the best pick possible for the main event. I always do that right away. So these next picks might change a little bit over the next couple of days, maybe a little bit. Usually they don't really change, but usually there is one or two that I'm like, okay, I should probably change that to what I saw in the tape. So that is Johns and Argueta. I actually started to watch the tape for this one, so I know a little bit about these two, more than I do the other ones, I should say. This is the final prelim of the night as well. So Miles Johns, 13-2. Last fight, I should say. Vince Morales, but really the one that I saw was the John Castaneda one because that was way more important to me. And he ended up getting submitted by triangle choke there. And it's really because of that submission loss and how I saw him deal with the grappling a little bit here and there. You compare that to Dan Argueta here, and it starts to be pretty obvious what should be happening here. Because if you don't remember, actually, Dan Argueta was the one very similar to what we saw with Daniel Lacerda this week. This was with Ronnie Lawrence a few weeks ago, where Dan Argueta had that sub locked in. Ronnie Lawrence looked like he was going to tap. He was like this. He had his arm out. He was like this, almost about to tap. The ref grabs his arm, feels something. I mean, it didn't look like his arm was loose. The ref calls the fight and ends up being a no contest because Ronnie Lawrence is very much still awake and not tapping. So this is actually, like I said, this is actually the second time this has happened in a month, I think. When was that? Oh, shit. That was 2 months ago. Oh, my God. 3 months ago. This is in June. My God, it's been a long time. How time flies when you're doing nothing. So that was that fight. So yeah, but what we saw in that fight, and even the one before that against Nick Aguirre, Damon Jackson, the dude can grapple. The dude has submissions. The dude has grappling. Dan Argueta is dangerous on the ground. And what we saw was Miles Johns having problems on the ground. So to me, I think the pick's pretty obvious. You got to go with Dan Argueta. I think that's a pretty clear pick to make here. And as for the odds and the bets, I mean, what do we got here? It is minus 188 for Dan Argueta right now. Of course, we're going to be lowering that with something here. What have we got here? What have we got? They're favoring the over. Well, that plays perfectly into what we've just been setting up. You got to go with the under. What did I just say? He's a submission threat. He's been, and then Johns has been submitted a couple of times. You got to go the under 1.5. So obviously we will be taking that. That is currently at plus 120. We'll take that. We got to take that. The under, which means you probably got to balance it out with Argueta by decision, I would think, which is at plus 175. How about that? How about that? Because then, of course, if you look as well with Miles Johns, I remember him having KOs himself. He does have KOs. So he's also live for a finish as well. So really, that under really does make a lot of sense. And of course, the grappler does usually get a decision in cases where they're trying to be a little more safe. So that actually really does, again, once again, also make sense. Argetta by decision. So I think that is the perfect betting line to set up. You gotta go Dan Argetta by decision. And I might as well actually type this out here. Argetta, because that is what I'm gonna do. Argetta decision, balance that out with the under 2.5 there. That brings us to the main card. Charles Jourdain, Ricardo Ramos. And again, now I definitely have not watched the tape on anybody. I remember Ramos being very, very dangerous pretty much everywhere. And of course, obviously, I know Charles Jourdain very well because I've been watching him for quite a while. I've seen all of his UFC fights, I think. Oh, not all of them. Okay, maybe not all of them. All of the last 5 or 6 of them. So yes, I definitely know his style pretty well. And I got to imagine this is not something that favors him really much at all. If this is who I think it is, which I believe it is. Let me see Ricardo Ramos here. Wow. Ricardo Ramos actually was supposed to fight earlier this year and missed weight. I forgot about that. But yeah, I mean, his last fight, he got a spinning back elbow knockout in a little over a minute into the fight. So that's pretty impressive. Lost to Zuba before that, Tukov by decision. So that would be because of the wrestling, which is Zuba. So that makes sense. This could be close. I'm seeing a close one here. But yeah, you got to imagine this is not going to go well for Charles Jourdain. He never really gets finished, though. So I think the pretty clear way to go with this, you got to go with Ramos' decision. Let's look at those odds right now, see what they are at. Excuse me. Minus 125 for Jourdain. Now that is interesting. Huh. Well, it looks like we're going for a Ramos underdog here, plus 100 actually. And I would probably get that now because I have a feeling they're going to be favoring Ramos pretty soon. That's usually what happens. And the over under, very interesting. They are favoring the over as expected, but it's actually at minus 138. So they're not hugely convinced actually that there's not going to be a finish. Might go the over, but I don't know. Nah, we got to balance this out somehow. See, this is what happens when I don't do the research ahead of time. I got to do it here. That's okay. You guys see the process a little bit, I guess. Man. Well, Jourdain definitely is not going to get a finish. I can tell you that. No, I think the way to go with this is probably you got to go with Ramos either straight up. Now, Ramos plus 100. I think you got to do that. And I think balance it out with the over. Minus 138. Might have to do that. Because we know Jourdain is not going to get a finish. The only way he could win is decision. So the over would make more sense. Ricardo Ramos also makes sense for a decision. Unless we balance it out by going Jourdain decision and then going the under just in case Ramos gets the finish. This is a tough one. This is a very, very, very tough pick. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier. These fights in the Vegas fights are a lot closer than these other cards and the pay-per-views. Might even just go straight up Ramos and just do that. No over-unders. Well, as it stands, as it stands, I'm going to do Ricardo Ramos plus 100 and and balance it out with the over 2.5 at minus 138. That's what I've got for now, but that very well could change over the next couple of days, especially depending on where these numbers land. We'll see. We'll see. Moving on. Brian Battle, AJ Fletcher. I can tell this is going to be a tougher one to pick because I know how tough Brian Battle is to pick because he's kind of inconsistent in the weirdest way possible. So yeah, this is a bit of a tougher one. And then AJ Fletcher on the other side, I remember him being pretty good, but he doesn't have the name. Let's see here. Oh, he beat Temba Garimbo. I mean, my God. How do you not beat Temba Garimbo? Decision before that decision. I think you got to go Brian Battle on this one. Yeah. Yeah, I think you got to go with excuse me. You got to go with Brian Battle on this one. I mean, he's shown over and over again. He definitely has the heart and the well-rounded skill set. I think people maybe just aren't taking him seriously because of not the Contender Series, because of the Ultimate Fighter. I don't know. Like I just think maybe people just aren't taking people seriously from that show anymore. Maybe that's what it is. But yeah, people really have not been giving credit to Brian Battle. I mean, he's got 2 knockouts that were less than a minute. 2 in the UFC so far. Plus he's got a second round finish in the Ultimate Fighter finale. He beat the other guy who they thought was going to win the show, Trayshawn Gore. The only fight that he lost was Renat Fakhretdinov, and that dude is a lunatic with the grappling. I mean, he never stops grappling. So that one made sense, but this one just doesn't seem like it's the same conversation. Like, I think he should be able to stop Fletcher's grappling, I would think, or at least nullify it. Excuse me. So I would say actually for this one, the pretty clear pick is Brian Battle. And if you go towards the odds here, he is at minus 175, so they're giving him credit there. So to lower those odds, I think you gotta go with the decision. We'll check out what the over-under here is to really make sure. Yeah, you gotta go with the decision. Then the under here is under where? No, it's a minus 125 for the under. But I would actually go under 1.5, I think. So I would actually probably go the under 1.5, which is plus 162. Because, and I've said this over and over again before, most finishes happen in the first half of the fight. That is a fact. So when it's offered to you at plus money, you might as well take it. Excuse me. So I'm taking it. Just in case Fletcher or Battle gets that early finish. And then, like I said, got to balance that out with the battle decision. I think that's pretty reasonable because he's got the striking and the takedown defense. Fletcher's pretty tough. That to me sounds like a decision. So battle decision and balance that out with the under 1.5, not under 2.5, under 1.5. I like it. I like where this is going. I'm going to write that one down. Okay, so let's see. That's battle decision. Typing that out for you guys so I know I'm going to make that bet. Under 1.5. Beautiful. I'm still not convinced with that previous matchup, though, so I'll leave that blank because I'm not 100% convinced by that. Moving on once again, Marina Rodriguez, Michelle Waterson. I mean, I think the general consensus on this is correct. I mean, I don't know how you could pick the karate hottie Michelle Waterson in this. I mean, wow, my throat is getting mangled. I'll have some water here. It's disgusting. I have some emergency in there, and it's diluted to the point where it doesn't taste good. And so it's kind of in between water and like lemon. Not great. It just tastes like water with like the faintest hint of lemon and lime. Not good. And not a good lemon and lime, like a powdered lemon and lime. Not good. Um, so that was gross. But yeah, much needed though. My throat feels a little better. Moving on. So Marina Rodriguez, Michelle Waterson Gomez. I mean, I don't know how you could favor the Karate Hottie in really any matchup at this point, especially with anybody in the top 10. I mean, for fuck's sake. Has not been doing well recently at all. And this is just another matchup that's not good. I don't think, though, that... Man, I'm struggling here. I don't think that Rodriguez is necessarily live for a finish. I mean, we'll see at what the Karate Hottie's been doing recently. I forget if she was finished or not. I think in one of her recent fights she was. I was right. It was Lemos got the finish, but that was by submission. I mean, she's not going to get knocked out, I don't think. So really, that tells me, I think the pretty clear way to go with this is Rodriguez decision. And I don't even know if there's really any other bet bet that needs to be made with that fight. I think that's really just the way to go. You just got to go Marina Rodriguez by points. And that is minus 188. So I'll actually literally do that right now, because that is only going to get more out of control. The odds are only going to get up on that, because that just really does seem like the only reasonable outcome is Rodriguez's decision. So yeah, I think that's what you got to do here. Rodriguez decision minus 188. So the odds, I mean, they're not juicy, that's for damn sure, but they are usable. They are playable. It's under that minus 200. It's the only outcome that I really see happening, so we'll go for it. And this is that new strategy of cutting out bets, because I could go with the under 2.5 thinking, oh, maybe Rodriguez can get a submission. Maybe. It's like, maybe don't waste units here and there just hoping for something like that to happen, because it doesn't usually happen. Moving on, once again, I did not watch the tape on this one. Again, just reminding people, I did not watch the tape, so I could change my mind. But I got to be honest, I don't think I will in this case. I think Mitchell really got exposed in that last fight. I think Mitchell, we now know he's not really that great of a striker against somebody who is a good striker, I should say. He kind of gets exposed in that kind of realm when he cannot get those takedowns. So when Bryce Mitchell doesn't get the takedown or doesn't get the clinching and cannot use the grappling, that's a better way of saying it, actually. When Bryce Mitchell can't use his grappling, he's kind of fucked. And I got to be honest, I think he's kind of fucked here. I really do. Ige can wrestle. We've seen it over and over again. I don't know why people seem to forget that Ige can wrestle. The dude started as a wrestler. Like, I think, did he not do college wrestling? I'm pretty sure. So he's going to be able to shut down the wrestling of, oh, you're returning. Hey, there we go. Yes, I will have you back. Yes, I will accept. I will accept your return. As I was saying, though, yeah, Mitchell really has nothing to show you once he can't grapple anymore. And we've seen time and time again that Ige can wrestle. He really can. I'm pretty sure he wrestled in college. I'm pretty sure anyway. And they've talked about his wrestling before, how good it actually is. Plus, he's got the striking. That is a disaster for Bryce Mitchell, because the striking is really going to be what it comes down to. Because when Ige shuts that wrestling down, Bryce has got to rely on on that striking, and he just really cannot do that. So I would actually say there's a very good chance that we see an Ige KO, or that we just see Ige win a decision. But I really do think Ige has a very good chance of winning this fight. A very, very good chance of winning this fight. Is he the top dog? I'm not sure, because Gamrot is also the underdog, and I got news for you. He might be the pick this week. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, as for Ige, let's see what the odds are at. He is at plus 150. That's a juicy damn line. I mean, like, really, especially after we just saw Mitchell get, I mean, dominated, destroyed by Topuria. I think Ige can do the same thing. I really do. I really do. It sounds crazy, but I really do. I really do think Ige can very easily win this. So I got to go with Ige at plus 150. But of course, that is no doubt going to get higher throughout this week. I'm sure. I'm sure anyway. I'm assuming it will be, because I don't think that there's going to be a whole lot coming in on Dan Ige to lower these odds at all. Maybe a little bit. Maybe if people are seeing what I'm seeing, but I don't know. I think it's going to drift more towards Mitchell throughout the week. Either way, get it in now too. I mean, plus 150 is a good price no matter what. And in terms of the odds, I mean, the over under, I think there's only one way to go with this. You have to go the under. It's at plus 162 right now. Like, Bryce has a bunch of submissions. Ige can easily get a knockout. I think there's you got to do the under. You definitely got to do the under. So plus 162. I love that. So I will type that out, that we're definitely doing under 2.5, and of course Ige. Love it. Absolutely love that. Yeah, and I think more Americans will care about Mitchell. I think the rest of the world will be caring more about Ige. Just a guess. But yeah, which is why I am a little bit worried now that I'm thinking about it, that this price will go actually more towards Ige, because I think people are starting to realize, oh, maybe Mitchell isn't as well-rounded and as good as we thought. And maybe Ige's better than we thought, you know? But yeah, moving on to the main event. And this one I did get a chance to watch the tape for, as I said. And maybe if you grasped what I said earlier, you will already know my pick, and that is Mateusz Gamrot. Surprised anybody? I would be, because I love Fiziev. I actually like both of them quite a bit. I thought I was going to choose Fiziev. I really did. I was like, oh man, the power, the striking of Gamrot, it's going to be a problem. And it really could be. I think that's actually 50-50, which is why I actually think no matter what, you should be putting money on the underdog in this anyway. Because I do think it's 50-50, because there's a very good chance that Gamrot can't handle the striking of Fiziev in 5 rounds. I think that's a definite possibility, but I also think that Fiziev won't be able to handle the grappling for 5 rounds. I think that's a distinct possibility too. And actually, it's not even that I don't think Gamrot can handle the striking. I think there's a possibility that he won't be able to keep up his grappling pace for 5 rounds. That's more so what I was kind of getting at there. Because he's good at striking. He can hang on the feet for sure, but he's not going to win a striking battle. That's for sure. Like, that's for damn sure. He's not winning a striking battle against Fiziev. He has to grapple. So can he hold up that grappling for 3 out of the 5 rounds? I think so, and that's why I am picking Gamrot. He's also extremely tough. He's never been knocked out. So I think it's going to be pretty hard for Fiziev to knock him out. He's been in so many 5-round fights, by the way. I mean, maybe not a lot of people realize this about Gamrot, but he was a champion in KSW, a double champ in KSW for a while. So, like, he has had a lot of 5-round fights, and he's won them. So He knows what he's doing in 5-round fights. Fiziev, I don't know if you noticed, kind of struggled in that one 5-round fight that he had. He's only had one, and that was Sarukian. He struggled. No, not Sarukian. RDA. I was thinking about Sarukian and Gamrot. Excuse me. But yeah, he struggled in that fight against RDA, and he struggled with the grappling. He was out grappled by RDA. That was the problem. Who's got even better grappling than RDA? It's Gamrot. Gamrot will not stop for 5 rounds. So I really do think that that is going to be a massive problem. Because it wasn't even just the grappling ability of Fiziev that was a problem. It was the fact that he was actually struggling with the grappling cardio more than anything else. So he was still kind of shutting down the takedowns, but he was kind of getting taken down more often, and he was kind of getting held down a little bit more. That's what was happening throughout the fight, which I think Gamrot, being a better grappler than RDA and Fiziev, yeah, I think that's going to be a real problem. The only thing that has me worried about Gamrot right now is he does get hit. He likes to get in fights like that. I mean, and was it Dariush? Who was it? Whoever he last fought did crack him pretty fucking hard, and he almost got knocked out there. And Fiziev can hit harder than that. So it does worry me a little bit that he might get finished just like RDA did. Oh, and that was another point, actually. That was the other reason I ended up going with Gamrot on this, because that stoppage, let's be real. If you watch that stoppage back of RDA and Fiziev, it's questionable. It is questionable that Fiziev got that KO, because it was one of those TKOs where it's like, holy shit, he dropped him hard. Like, he dropped him pretty bad for sure. And then he just did like literally bam, bam, and then just walked away, and then the ref stopped it. And RDA was just sitting there like, you're stopping it right now? Are you serious? Like, that's kind of the attitude it was. It was like, really? That was the stoppage? That was the TKO? So it was kind of one of those where it's like, if it was a different ref, that's definitely not a finish. So I don't know. I don't know if he can finish Gamrot like that. Yeah, they just wanted that to be over. I mean, we don't want to get too conspiracy theory, especially when the refs are involved. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. I don't know. I don't want to get too conspiracy theory on everybody, because I did do that enough today with a little bit of conspiracy theories. We'll shut that down a little too much. But, what was I going to say here? But yeah, so really it's the grappling. The grappling of Gamrot leads me to believe that he should be able to win this fight for sure. And the other thing too, it really is about the cardio. Like, it really, really is also heavily influenced by that cardio. And the fact that we know for a fact Gamrot can keep that up, keep everything up for 5 rounds, because we've seen it over and over and over again. I think that really does play into it. So yeah, I'm going all in on Gamrot here. And if he is the underdog, which I believe he still is, he should be the top dog. I really do think he should be. He deserves it. Plus 130 for Gamrot. I think he should be the top dog. That's what I'm thinking. Which is at plus 130 right now. So I don't know if you want to write that one down, but we'll see. The odds might change, so don't write the odds down just quite yet. It might get a little more one-sided. They might even rein it back in. I mean, with Fiziev at minus 163, I think it's pretty close. I think those odds could come down to minus 130, 140-ish. So we'll see what happens with those odds, but I'm definitely not changing the pick there. That's hilarious. I never even really thought of that. Area 51 should allow lots of conspiracies. Just saying. That's funny. Yes, they should. Well, they've never shut me down, and I've said some pretty crazy things, and they've never had a problem with it. So clearly they're pretty lenient on a lot of things. Anyway, The over-under is what I was looking at. Let's see. Well, the over-under is actually set at 4.5 rounds, but they're actually favoring the under. So they're actually setting it at under 4.5. That seems a little bit silly because there aren't a lot of 5-round finishes. There are pretty much none, actually. So seems a little bit silly to bet on the under 4.5. It would make a lot more sense to do the under 3.5, which actually is at plus money. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do the under 3.5, which is a distinct possibility. I mean, what if Fiziev goes out there, just sparks him? I mean, that's plausible. I don't see that happening, but it's plausible. And what if Gamrot goes in there, does some crazy shit, like Chimaev level shit, heel hook, and Fiziev is on the ground asleep, that could easily happen, or with a broken arm or leg or some shit. I could very easily see that because Gamrot is an absolute animal on the ground. So if Fiziev is not 1000% ready to fight off the craziest submissions you've ever seen, he's going to be in trouble. So I think the under 3.5 is a distinct possibility. Well, it's the same possibility as under 4.5. That's why I'm doing it. Yeah. So with that being at plus 105, we will do that, and I will write that down right now. So under 3.5 is 105. Locking it in. And we, of course, Gamrot. I'm definitely not going away from Gamrot. I think he should be the favorite, actually. But, well, actually, no. I see why he's not the favorite with the whole Gaethje thing with Fiziev. The nice thing about lightweight division is that so many of the top 15 are likable, and then so happy whenever, and it's just maybe not Islam, yeah, I agree. I think bantamweight, for me, bantamweight is also pretty similar, to be honest. I actually feel the same way there, whereas it's like, I'm okay with anybody winning, really. I like Corey Sandhagen might be he is one of my favorites now, not just because he looks actually a lot like me, which is weird. But yeah, that's not the only reason why I like him, but he is very good. So he's likable. He's also funny. Font, I don't know how you could really have a huge problem with Font. Song Yadong, exciting, great guy. Chito Vera, didn't used to like Cheeto because of the whole Suga thing. He's growing on me. I just don't like it when he talks about Suga because I hated that so much. I love Suga. I love Marab. I even like Aljo, to be honest. And who else? Like I said, there's so many bantamweights. I really do think bantamweight is another division like that. And I would actually even say 115 for the ladies is exactly like that too. I like everybody at the top. Like they're all really good, and they're all really cool, really chill people. I like them all. I mean, you got Zhang Wei Li. I love Jessica Andrade. A lot of people, they're 50-50 on Jessica Andrade. I understand. I like her. Got Yan Xiaonan. Rose was down there. Now she's up, but again, rubs some people the wrong way. I like her. Who else is there? I mean, there's a lot of 115ers. Oh yeah, Marina Rodriguez, Karate Hottie. How could you hate either one of these people? Mackenzie Dern. You can't hate Mackenzie Dern. I mean, there's so many. Yeah. Lovable divisions all over the place. But yeah, 155 is definitely one of those. And I mean, yeah, 155, Connor, Chandler, Hooker, Poirier. I'm not a huge Poirier guy. Gaethje, Fiziev, Gamrot, Sarukian. I don't care who wins. I love them all too. Yeah, I totally agree. I don't know why you don't like Marab though. He is so funny. He's like an underrated funny, he's like a funny guy that most people don't. I just don't think they understand that he's funny because of his accent. You know what I mean? I think that's what it is. He doesn't he's not super vocal about it. He's not, and maybe it is because it's not his first language, so he's not as confident with what he says. But trust me, he's so funny though. Everything he does, I laugh every time he does something because it's so funny. He does silly things. He says silly things. I mean, the whole jacket thing with Suga. How do you not like that? That's so funny to just be like, I'm just, you know what? I'm just gonna. He's taking his jacket off. I'm just gonna take the jacket. He just takes the jacket, puts it on. That's fucking hilarious. How do you not like? I mean, who thinks of doing that? Who else? Who else would have thought of doing that? I truly don't know anybody in the UFC that would see Sugar Sean taking off his jacket and think, you know what? I'm gonna put this jacket on and wear it on the cage. I mean, come on. But yeah, yeah, the title shot thing, 100%. I can see how that bugs people a little bit. It doesn't bug me. I understand. I wouldn't want to fight because, like, for me too, when I want to fight somebody, the mindset for me to get in a cage like that, I would have to want to kill that person. That's the mindset that I would have and that I would have to have going in there. And there are a lot of people that fight like that. So they think I need to want to kill this person. He's never going to get to that point with Aljo. He's too close. So, some people are like that. So I totally understand that because I wouldn't want to fight my best friend like that either. I totally, totally get that. But yeah, I will say the Jose Aldo thing, that fight really did bug me because, and I mean, now we know how and why that was happening because he did literally the exact same thing to Piotr Jan, who is way better than Jose Aldo was when he fought Merab. So we get that now, but you don't like it though, obviously. Like I didn't want to see it happen to Piotr Jan either. I love watching Piotr Jan. He's an exciting fighter to watch. And then to see Merab just go in there and just fucking throw him into the cage, throw him down, takedown, fucking how many takedowns was it? It was like 20 takedowns or some shit. I mean, it's cool because it's like, wow, he really did that. But it's like I want to see Piotr Jan bang. Like I want to see some striking here. Same with Aldo. I want to see Aldo strike with Merab here. I want to see that. But we didn't get that. And that's just what Merab does. It's a style thing. And guess what? Same shit's gonna happen if he goes against Suga. It's sad to say, but we all know that's exactly what's gonna happen. Merab is gonna go in there. He's gonna throw Suga around. Maybe he does last all 5 rounds with Merab. I wouldn't be too surprised, but I guarantee you it's gonna be the same shit. He's just gonna throw him around the octagon. That's all it's gonna be. I don't want to see that. So, and I think that actually is exactly why they play up the whole title thing, like, oh, Merab doesn't want the title shot because Aljo. That whole thing is done. They want the title fight now. But the reason the UFC probably doesn't want to give it to him is just because they know that is the worst case scenario for Suga. He's going to lose that fight. As much as I love Suga, he's not going to win that fight. It's a terrible matchup. It's just a bad matchup. That's all it is. And we just saw it too. So, yeah. I think the fact that, well, I would say that before that I noticed that, but that changed this week because we saw, and if you watched Ariel show the MMA Hour this weekend, today actually, because I was watching the first part of the show, Aljo was on and he was campaigning pretty hard to just be like, why the fuck is Merab not getting the next title shot? It doesn't make any sense. And it's true. I totally agree with him. From a merit perspective, there is no conversation. It is obviously Merab, which is what he was saying. Because he doesn't care about the title shot either. I mean, it's not that he doesn't care. He wants to go on, he's on vacation now. He wants to take a break. And he's saying Merab should get the title shot. And then, yeah, that's really all he's saying. And if Merab doesn't get it, then Aljo, he'll get it when he comes back, like 6-8 months from now, because he wants to take a long break. But he did say the main crux of it, though, was Cheeto. Why is Cheeto getting it? Doesn't make any sense other than that one storyline. And he actually even said another storyline with Suga is actually Merab. the whole jacket thing. They have a storyline too. So Aljo was actually even, I would say, putting up some pretty good arguments as to why Marab deserves it. But before though, I did agree with you before this. But I think now that Aljo lost, he's kind of like, well, I lost. I want to take a break. Suga beat me, whatever. I don't give a fuck, but whatever. Well, it is what it is. Now Marab gets his shot. That seems to be the mindset that Aljo's going into the next year with, basically, is he's like, it's Marab's shot now. I'll either go up to 145 or I'll come back and I'll fight for the title if Marab doesn't have the title. That seems to be what he's saying now, which I think is good. And when the UFC said no enough times only, then what? No, I didn't really see that. I didn't really see that. To be fair, I didn't really see that much at all. Because I never really saw Aljo, at least not what I saw. I didn't see him fight for the rematch because he even said as soon as the fight was over, he was kind of like, okay, well, now I can rest now. And he's been resting ever since. So it doesn't even seem like he really was fighting for the rematch. I don't know. But anyway, I don't even know why we're talking about this now, but we were talking about lightweight and now we're talking about bantamweight. But yeah. Anyway, but yeah, those are the bets. Oh yeah, in terms of the parlays, well, of course, I don't have the final couple of people to add in because I didn't watch the tape fully yet, but we do have some of the people in the parlays. And I mean, I know for sure I'm putting in Tamiris Vidal, and I did put Inoue in Mizuki, but I put her in at the very bottom because I have a feeling that I'm not going to find 6 people to put in parlays that are rock solid. So what I'm going to do is I still like to have 6 people. So obviously then I would put the really iffy ones right at the bottom, as I always do, which in this case is Mizuki. She's way at the bottom at F, and I don't think she's moving out of that slot. E is Malkoon for now. That might go up because he's pretty reliable. Vidal I have higher. I have her at C right now because just the skill, age difference, everything about it, she should really easily win. She might even be A or B, to be honest. As for everybody else, I mean, now that I'm looking at the odds, this gets a little tougher. Argueta should be, oh man, I don't know. I feel like Fialio should be on here somewhere. So maybe Fialio's D, one, or maybe he's E, one step above Malkoon, one below Malkoon. One of them. Yeah, this is tough. I'm really going to have to think about these parlays because I don't have a clear cut parlay or even a clear cut sniper pick in this one because I think they're all fairly close. Maybe Marina Rodriguez might actually be the sniper pick because I just don't really see how the Karate Hottie's going to win this. I love her, but where is she going to win? She's not going to be able to take her down and do anything down there. We've seen much better grapplers than Karate Hottie try to take down Marina Rodriguez and fail. So I don't see it happening that way. And I think Marina Rodriguez is a better striker too. She's also, I think she has the reach as well. Let me check on that. She might even have the reach. Let me check. Let's see. Yeah, she does. She's 3 inches tall or 4 inches taller. Nope, I got that wrong. It was 3. 3 inches taller and 3 inches extra reach. And she's also, well, she's actually basically the same age. So that doesn't really have much to do with anything. But yeah, I think just the style and the frame, I just don't see it. I don't see how she can win. Yeah, it is much closer, so I better take the time for sure. For sure. And I mean, that's why sometimes I am a little bit slower and a little bit behind at making these picks because I really want to make sure every single time that I am either definitely going to win or I'm very, very likely to win. There's really not a whole lot in between. Where are we here? So yeah, Rodriguez might actually be the sniper pick this week. I don't know if you have any other I don't know if you have any people on here that you're thinking maybe could be it. Let me see the odds here. Who's the biggest favorite? I think it might still be Marina Rodriguez. Yeah, she is. Oh no, she's not. Malkoun is the biggest favorite. But yeah, Brundage is such a loose cannon, right? Like he's such a loose cannon that anything can happen in his fight, so that worries me. Argueta, no. Fialio, he's so inconsistent. I mean, Usman, he's inconsistent. He could get knocked out. In a way, I don't trust because she hasn't fought in 3 years. Yeah. Vidal that's another great choice, actually. So she might be up there too, A or B. I don't trust Ramos or Jourdain. Both of them have been inconsistent. Battle, no, don't really trust him either. Definitely nothing in the co-main or main. I don't trust either of those matchups with a sniper pick. So yeah, I think it's going to be either Tamiris Vidal or Marina Rodriguez for the sniper pick because I don't really see either one of them losing. So I would say that's probably A and B right there. But yeah, we'll see. It'll be on Instagram and Twitter. Oh yeah, I don't trust Usman at all. No, not a chance. Especially since he got hit so much. I was shocked, honestly, that Tafa didn't get the KO. I watched it again, obviously yesterday. I'm still shocked he didn't get the KO. He was beating the absolute shit out of him. He he landed so many fast combos, heavy shots. Usman's face was just, his nose was bleeding a lot. He was beat up. And basically just pushed through it and then kind of laid on top of him for the next 2 rounds to win. That's essentially what he did. But yeah, so I think that's it then. Yeah, we will have the odds and everything on Instagram and Twitter. The links to those are below. Yeah, the Area 51 group has got you covered for all the other sports. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't heard them talk about anything for quite a while. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I'm just going to assume that they are. And yeah, we'll see how these picks go out. How these picks go. I'm excited though. The ones on Instagram and Twitter worked out really well last time. I always feel pretty good about the bets anyway. But now that I'm like really heavily focusing on these ones, I think it's going to turn out a lot better. And we're up 2 units already. So that's a good start. Yeah. Yeah. And I've got you covered for the MMA. Let's see. Let's try not to have a super awkward ending this time. Challenge level impossible. I'm also getting hungry too, which is also why this never goes smoothly because I'm getting like, you get like a little dizzy and disoriented when you get hungry and everything. And then of course from talking for 2 hours straight, it gets a little difficult to maintain your composure. I can't even find my fucking outro. My God. Well, that's gone out the window now already. Clearly, this is already a less than optimal exit. Where is it? What the fuck? There it is. Okay. Anyway, so thanks for watching, everybody. Great time as always. Great bets last week. I feel pretty good about this week, actually, too. But I can tell this is going to be a little bit dicier. These are the weeks where that either go very well or very wrong because the Vegas cards, as we discussed, the results can get pretty dicey. So we'll see. I'm pretty optimistic about this one, though. I really am. And well, oh my God, what the hell, comment? Because you didn't take the minute break. Yep, it's all because I didn't take the minute break. Of course. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. I will see you next time.